here to continue watching our videos right now.
Okay, all right. So this is Visual Studio Online, so which some people also will call TFS. So, and in here you can use it to manage your work item within the sprint, and also using Agile. So I think in the beginning of the training we discussed about Agile and how Agile work, how you move things from one stage to the other. So in Agile, basically we have different cross-functional groups or roles. So we have product owner, which is in charge of the backlog, and also is the owner of the team basically, and is the one that give people tasks to do, or what is been assigned to do. So from there, once he enters the team, so it's kind of the team responsibility to deliver what is been agreed. So then we have the developers. Everyone in the team is a developer, so developer or QA. Then also within the developer, or also been some people can assign someone to do a role, another role, which is called Scrum Master. The Scrum Master, the role of the Scrum Master is to remove impediments, I would say. So the role of a Scrum Master is to remove impediments and to ensure that the principle of Agile is followed within the team. So now, so if we with that notion in place, so we're going to start this. So the first one, it's when you start to work. Let's say you have a story. I'll say if I have something in backlog. Okay, cool. So let's assume, okay, we have a backlog right now. In Agile, there are two backlogs. You have the product backlog and you have the sprint backlog. The product backlog is everything that needs to be done for that product to be released. And for instance, everything here is a product backlog, is everything that needs to be delivered. Then also there are also sprint backlog. That is the thing, the story within the sprint. So as you can see here, we have sprint 1, sprint 1, sprint 1, sprint 1, sprint 1. So all the stories in sprint 1 will be the sprint backlog, and then also there will be some stories maybe in sprint 2 or sprint 3, so as it's been assigned, but this is not. So for I said we have sprint product backlog. So everything here everything here is in the product backlog. So we also have the sprint. So if you want to go to the sprint backlog, you click on that. That's the sprint 1. So and you can see everything here is within the sprint. So and then we can select one item within the sprint. Let's say also you have product backlog item, which is your story, which is what you are going to be testing. So you have the migration. So in essence, in normal situation, you have the migration and you have acceptance criteria for that particular migration. Acceptance criteria is what needs to be met, where exactly will be met for that particular story to be done. So then there might be discussion also. So you put the discussion down here if there's anything that you want to discuss within that particular story, and also description of that particular story. So each story will have title, which is the title of that particular backlog item, then also description and acceptance criteria. And this is just to, maybe you want to have a comment, or you want to talk to someone, you want to add your own view about the story, so you put that here. So the story is in the stage of new once it's created. So then you can move it to different states. So after is a new, you move to approve. Approve means we've agreed. So that story goes to grooming. So one is being groomed, then you agree on the point and everything, which is not, I'm not going to discuss that today. So it goes to grooming. So once it's been approved for grooming, so it goes to committed. Committed means it's now going to go into a sprint. So it goes to a sprint, then from the committed state, then it goes to done. So I will repeat that again: from approved to committed, and committed to done. So some story will not be done. Maybe it might be removed because there's duplicates. You move to duplicates. So, but this is a standard life cycle of a story, of a backlog item. Sometimes you hear me, I'll say stories is basically also the same thing. Backlog items. So I'll say from new. When it's created newly. So then when it's been agreed that, okay, we need to work on that, because once it's new, it goes into the product backlog item that I showed to you. But after that, the story is taken from the product backlog item and reviewed to see, okay, do we want to do this story? Do we not want to do this story? Once we agree to do the story, then it's approved. So after it's approved, it goes to backlog grooming. So they groom me to say, okay, oh, this story, you put some other details in that particular story, and then you can say, okay, oh, it's ready. So once it's ready to be done in the sprint, it's now being committed to that particular sprint. So once it's committed to the sprint, then each team start to work on that. So you create your tasks for that particular story. Then after that, when it's done, you create it in done. So there are other people that can also create different layers in this. Maybe you can create a status to say, okay, which status is this particular story in? Maybe it's in development or different states. But as in the standard one that is on vanilla TFS is these particular states. So this is the iteration where the story is. So for instance, like I told you, sprint 1 is what this one could be. So you could assign it to sprint 2 or sprint 3, depending on the sprint that you agree to do it. The same thing also for the area. Which area is the story in? So you can assign the area where the story should be in. So, and yeah, stories can also have priorities. So you can assign the priorities to say, but this is normally assigned by the whole team or the product owner, depending on how you work. So yeah, that is that for TFS. So let me go back and see if there's any other one. Score. Okay, so okay. Okay, this one is being filled. This is an example of what you want to put in the description of the story. So then you want to put that in the description of that story. So once that story is done, or it can also be assigned to a particular person. So if you are the one doing it, it can be assigned to you, and also you can also put some tags to that particular story. So that is that, sir. And Also, you can add links to the story. So, for instance, you can add new link. So your link can be which type of maybe it's a child or it's not. So based on that, you can also I want to I want to create a new bug for that particular story. So that's a link for that particular story. Then what I'm creating is a bug. Or you could also create a task. You could create your test case. You could create but right now, let's try to say, okay, we want to create our test case. So now I create my test case. I call it group page test. So I think from the manual testing that we did, that we using Excel, that I showed to you, we've seen some step, action, expected result, and if you have an attachment. So the same thing also, for me to test that group page, I can say open group page URL. Then what's my expected group page is displayed. So I can save that. So, but however, I want to go to the group page and see what is there. So it said check tab of that and that. So old page, new page. So well, this is not a good spec anyway, but if it were a good spec, then you need to confirm everything there. So we go to another software that's got a good spec, but I just want to show this briefly. So if we go to the links again, so that we can go to the test group page test. So this is you writing your test cases. So you continue like that for this particular story. So I've written my test, then you can go in there. So and you can run your test whenever you want to run it. Running will mean that you go through each of your tests. Yeah. So you can insert new step. You can also insert share step. Insert share step will mean that there might be instances where some tests are so common for different test cases, so you don't need to be repeating them one after the other. So okay, I think Jamie is asking if you can do stories, you can do tests in TFS. Exactly, that answers your question. This is your test cases written in TFS. So as I said, this is a this is a test. This is a backlog item, and the test also for that particular story is this one. Can we clone test? And yes, I think you should be able to clone test. So in TFS, if I do that quickly, yeah, that's great shared. Yeah. So okay. Just write it in one rubbish test. So I think this can be copied. Yeah, you can create shared step, so that's going to be used by other tests. And I think you can also copy the test. Yeah, create copy of work item. So you can copy this, so that creates copy of this particular work item. So and that is the create copy. Then so yeah, so that's another one. So then you can change this one now to group page one test. So that's me creating a copy, like what's called a clone of that page. So I can save that. So the other one, this is 84. I think the other one is 83. Is that one? So and then that's a clone of that. So that is basically maybe 10 minutes overview of how TFS works end to end. So, and also how you can write your test cases in TFS. So that, which is the most important thing that you do. I'll go through it one more time just to see. So from your work item, this is your work item. So, and you put your description, the right description. This is just jargon. You don't need to do this. So then you put your acceptance criteria, whether in Gherkin or in a format that is allowed. So then, like I said, the state of the item, you need to put the state, whether when you create it newly, it is in new, then also approved and committed when it's been in the sprint. When it's done, then you change that to done. So, and that's the story done for that particular sprint. So, and that's that. So once a story is created for you, I'll tell you the flow. One, the first thing, you create a new item. So it goes to power grooming session. It's been approved, and later it goes to committed. Under committed, that means it's in the sprint. So that's where you start to write your test cases and everything. So you go in there, you have related links, you add your links to add new test cases. So you want to have new test case. So then you create your test case, you put your, let's create another one. So let's say negative testing for page group. So then you can put your action, expected results, and if there's any attachment or not, you add it. So that's it. Then you click on there, you save. And if you click on this button, you save and close. So it's better you click on that. So then that is that you put everything there. So, and once you run that script, this test, and it fails, you go back again, add link, you click on new item, and this time around you want to create a bug. So you create bug, and the title of the bug, the page failed to load. So you put the descriptions of the step, open page URL. So you can, that's the step, and you can say expect actual. So then if there's acceptance criteria, you put in there, that's it. Then also in some cases, if you know who the developer is, you can assign to the developer. For some team you don't assign to anyone, then the Scrum Master does that for you. But in some team you have to assign to someone to fix it. So then yeah, that's it, and you click on save or save and close. So that is that TFS. Any question? Okay. In the absence of no question, Okay, so is another tool. Do we create steps using the same step? Do we create bugs using the same step? That's a question. Do we create bug using the same steps? Yes and no. So, for instance, let's say, okay, let's go to the previous one. Okay, let's say I am running this particular test right now, and it's possible that I'm able to do this test, and then I found the bug in a different test scenario, which is not this one. So I need to write the description of that particular step that I found the bugs on. So it's going to be different from this. But if the bug is found using this particular step, a good example, yeah. So let's assume I ran this test, I opened the URL, and that is fine. But when I go to click on group, the group is not opened. Then as well, just copy and paste this step, and that, because that is fine. But if I was able to do this, and I was able to do this, and then also maybe during another test I found issues related to the story, so which is not covered in this particular test case, then I can put it in the step for the bug. So yes and no. In theory, it should be covered within the test cases, because that's from the test case, that's what you are running. But in some cases, you might see some edge cases which is not covered in your test case, which you might need to raise a bug for. So in that regard, you will need to create your create a new test step for that. Okay. Before I went back to TFS, I said this another tool is called Trello, Trello.com. So it's another tool that they use for Agile. So I run a project right now, so which is a live project. I'm just trying to. Initially, I didn't want to record this meeting because it's a project that's not yet live. So yeah, well, let's see how it goes. Okay. So for instance, this is a story. So this is a story that a BA will write for you, which is a business analyst or maybe the product owner searching a product. When you want to search a product on Gift, it should be possible to search based on text of the title, text in the title, in the description, type of product, then descriptions, distance of location. So, and that's everything. So now, when when a developer said this is done, right? So in this approach, we'll use some approach that say this is your backlog, and it is dev done. Once it is done, developer move it to done. So developer move the story to done. So as a QA, you need to look and say, okay, it's done, but it's not ready for me to test. So because it's possible they might have done some part, but it's not ready yet. So once it's ready, they move it to ready for QA. So in ready for QA, that's what you are ready to test it. So once you are testing it, then you move it to and it's passed, you move it to QA done. So QA done means it's ready to go live. So don't worry about this one. So it's not normally used. So then from there, maybe it goes to done, which is done, as in it's ready to be released. So that is that. So this too is easy. For you to create a new story, you just click on add on card. So and create new story. So, and once you do that, that is created for you, and you can click on that and you put your description of that particular story, and this is a test. You click on save, and then everyone can now write their comments. So you can add members to the call, and you can put a label, you can checklist it, you can put the due date, add attachments, yeah, sort of like that. So, and then also the same way you can move this particular story to dev done. If developers finish on that, you can move it to QA, or as also I think you should be able to do that also. You should be able to move it from here, from the action also. Where do you want to move it to? You want to move it to maybe QA done, and that is that. So if you open that, so it's already moved. So that is that. So yeah. So any question on that? So now, because this is only used for Agile, it's not used for test cases. I'll say it's not used for creating your test cases. So let's take one of those stories. So let's take this one for instance, and move it back to uh, so let's say it is ready for QA. Once it's ready for QA, even when it's not yet ready, sorry, let's say it's here, because sometimes you go for interview and they will ask you, can you tell me what's your day-to-day like in the sprint? So most of the sprints will be like two-week sprint. So and you have your item. For instance, you can see when I go to the board, I see all this version 1, version 2, version 3. So these are different sprints. So this is a sprint right now. See, this is everything in the sprint. So now developers will start to develop on these items. So for as a tester, what are you going to be doing when they are developing? Are you going to cross your arms or cross your arms and expecting them to finish? So, but no, what you're going to do in the first instance is to open it, read the story, make sure you understand the story. If you don't understand, then call the product owner or the VA to explain what that story means, or even sometimes also talk to developers also to see if you understand that story. Then after that, you start to write your test cases. So let's take this one to TFS and see what we're going to have. So let's okay. So let's say this is our backlog. Okay. Then I want to create new item. So I call was a searching. So where is that? I think that should already be created. Is it? Search. Oh, okay. It's been created already. Sorry, I didn't see that. So I can change that to a different one. So searching um, that product posting, change that to product posting. Sorry, I need to say this. So because I'm using two tools, so it's not the same thing. So it's not like, oh, you're going to be using these two tools for different for in your job. In some cases, people will use TFS completely without having to use Trello. And I've also worked in a company that they use Trello also, so for that particular purpose. So it's okay if you know Trello, that's fine. So if you don't know Trello, also if you know TFS, that's fine. So most often they do similar thing in terms of agile, how they manage agile. But Trello hasn't got functionality for you to add your test scripts. So that's why I'm trying to say, okay, if I use TFS at this particular time, then I can create my test cases from here. So my description, I've pasted that right now. So now we have a full functionality to test. So we have searching a product to test. So now if I want to create my test cases, I can say add link, new, then I want to create test case. So what's my test case? The first one, searching a product test. So the second one is distance calculation. I'm not sure if I saved that one. Distance calculation. Okay, distance calculation. The other one I did for this was not saved, so I create that one again. Searching. So I've created two test cases. So now from here, so if I need to search product based on that. So my action is, the first one I want to do is go to the search URL. So just copy that. So the next one is I search for a title. Yeah. Yes. So someone asking me first stop talking. Yes. Okay. Search for a product based on the type of product, since everyone just want me to talk. So yeah. So that's what you continue to do until you finish up to like search based on product posted to countries. So, and you click on save or save and close. So your tests are done for those ones. So you also create for I think displays of results. So that would be another test case. So then for yeah, that also maybe there's another one, main body. So you have your test condition based on that. You can see how it's been structured. So that's it. So that's you laying your hands on different tests that you can do. So these are live projects. I would say these are projects that you can see it's got some people's name on it. Initially, I didn't want to show it, but I think it's okay. So it's been assigned to different people. So these are live projects. So so if you really want to put your lay your hands on a story like this to test, I think get back to me. I should be able to put you on the test so that. But I would say only serious guys, also maybe one or two. So if you really keen to have a bit of experience on how to do the testing and everything, so I can add you to this project, so you can figure out to relate to developers, how to also test this application, how to see them work, and also to be in a team also. So I think that is us, to be honest. So in terms of manual testing, so and like I said, the next one is going to be maybe how to structure your CV, how to prepare for interview next week. So Pat is going to Pat is going to be doing that next week. So I think she's more capable than I am in that area. So yeah. So any question? So yeah. So if you want to join this project, so I don't need a lot of people, to be honest. So but it's fine. So I can add you to the call. So but that's a wrap. So I think that's it for today. So we meet on Thursday for the automation. So automation also is going to be mostly the same thing, because now you already know how to test it manually. So then the next one is now to convert your knowledge in the manual testing into the automation. For instance, if you are meant to automate this particular story, so what you're going to automate will be based on your test case that you've written in TFS, like the like that one. So you're going to just automate your test cases. That's what you're expected to do. So so that's what you're going to automate using the Selenium that we're doing on Thursdays. So yeah, so that's that. I'll talk to you guys on Thursday. All right. Thank you.